now. The intergalactic dare with the best of renown. Chainsaw weapon, carving through the void. Jelly flesh, sweet rage, galaxies destroyed. Gummi got the buzz, slicing through the stars. From Milky Way to Andromeda. The stars, no candy-coated dreams, it's a gummy garage. Chainsaw spinning, chaos lit Mars. I'm a planet where the gummies ain't supposed to sleep. Planet wars in the chainsaw beats. Cutting through fleet, spaceships collapse. A sugared up warrior, leaving no gaps. I'm a planet where the gummies ain't supposed to sleep. Planet wars in the chainsaw beats. Cutting through fleet, spaceships collapse. A sugared up warrior. Even black holes whisper gummy won't break. Sugar-coated terror, no mission to abstract. Tonight we beats with a murderous attack. Gummi got the buzz, slicing through the stars. From Milky Way to Andromeda. Leaving scars, no candy-coated dreams, just a gummy barrage. Chainsaw spinning, chaos lit Mars. Hey, what are we breaking tonight? The stage! And after that, pizza! Cowabunga! Teenage Mutant Metal Turtles! Teenage Mutant Metal Turtles! Teenage Mutant Metal Turtles! Rips in a half shell! Turtle power! Turtle power! We're the deadliest band in the underground. NYC fears us when the bass gets loud. If the Foot Clan dares to bring a fight, no mercy will crush him with the might. Shredder thinks he's got a chance to win, but this groove is gonna pull him in. Our riffs are sharper than ninja steel, and when we play, no one can steal the deal. Teenage Mutant Metal Turtles! Teenage Mutant Metal Turtles! Teenage Mutant Metal Turtles! Riffs in a half shell! Turtle power! Split and train dust for the hardcore grind. He's a radical rat. Leo leaves the band with the shredding mind. Cutting edge. Donnie has to beat with tech so tight. With smash. Rap breaks necks with his brutal might. Crash. Mikey's chaos jumps off the stage. Drop the mic and burn the place. Teenage Mutant Metal Turtles! Teenage Mutant Metal Turtles! Teenage Mutant Metal Turtles! Rips in a half shell! Power metal! Teenage Mutant Metal Turtles! Teenage Mutant Metal Turtles! Teenage Mutant Metal Turtles!
Hello, and welcome to Skeptical Robot, a show that is dedicated to logic and reason. And as always, please welcome my co-host, Mr. Corndiff. Hello, Corndiff.
Oh, hi.
Hello. Now, I have a bone to pick with you, sir. Did you gift 20 Luigi Greenberg memberships?
Instant buyer's remorse. No, I did. We need more members over here, and I'm just going to force them.
Thank you so much, Corndiff. I appreciate it. You made my day. That is fantastic of you. Let's see here. Who got some of those? Thank you. They're so
cheap. I was like, shit, let's get 20.
Associate producer Ralph. That guy is a scumbag.
Yeah, that one.
Hello, associate producer Ralph. Hope you're here. Glad to have you. Let's see. Kip Smith was gifted a membership by Corndiff. Door goes open. Guillermo, handyman to the stars. Michael Gavin Ali Show. Chris Topher. Rick, Mitch Connor.
Throw in some sounds.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm not coordinated enough. Let's see. Gardner fan. The Taxes Theft. Upset Duck. Biggest ETM fan. New Girl. Mr. Faversham, Vincent Grimley, Nortrix, Donna G, Big Daddy Dodo, Latanya Vegas, and the Looney Tunes critic. Thank you so much, Corndiff. I appreciate it.
Too many, apparently. No, it takes too long to get through 20. I'm going to do like small groups of 5.
That's probably a good idea, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
50, what the tone would be by the end of reading 50 names?
I probably would just say Corndiff gifted 50. Thank you, and just moved on. Now, we have a special guest. Let's see here. Now, like all of our other guests, we have something special for them before we introduce them, thanks to producer Gummi Chainsaw. So please welcome Trucker Andy. Now, before I bring Trucker Andy onto the stage, I want everyone to know he was recently in an accident and he looks very different. I know. Now, I'm going to give him a second intro, so please welcome the host of the All Apologies podcast and WATP regular, Trucker Andy.
So great.
Hey. What a wonderful intro that is just so impressive. I honestly love the Dabbleverse wrestling stuff, and you guys went out of your way and gave me that wonderful thing, and I show up with this. This is not even a good avatar.
Well, I do totally respect your reasoning for it. Please explain that.
Yeah, we were talking before we went live, and I remembered after Detroit live WATP 2 when Tukey and Cardiff were there, and then after it was all over, we came back and they wanted to have a recap of the weekend and just talk about how much fun we all had. And they were nice enough to invite me on, and then it's everybody is an avatar except me, and it was very awkward. I felt very out of place, so I wanted to show up as an avatar. If everyone's going to be an avatar, I'm going to be an avatar too.
One of us.
Gooble gobble, one of us.
I might just stick with this. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Might as well. I think it works. Yeah, I like it. Thank you so much for being here, Trucker Andy. I really do appreciate your time. Appreciate you doing it, and you obviously put some thought into it with the avatar. So, what else is there to ask for? I mean, come on now. You're doing great.
Is that a cast iron plunger?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a well-used plunger.
Soviet era plunger.
Thank you so much for being here again. Oh, wait a minute. Look at this.
Hot shit.
Hamhead with the 20.
You read
Luigi
the last one. You're legally
Greenberg.
obliged to read these.
Am I?
We'll do let me. Can you hear this?
It's a little low, but yeah, I can hear it. Oh, okay. That's good. That's good.
Okay. You want to go run through them?
There we go. Okay, I'm going to do them fast. All right, ready? DJ Electra, my buddy, gifted a membership. Let's see. Louie. Hearns 55. Mike Shitty Internet Provider. Tukey's Sock Accounts. Johnny Mars. Moosewood. Nasty Al. Yuri Joe and Clay. Hugo Limos. Noga Chaser.
Apparently.
Gabu. Gabu's coming.
Oh, okay.
Anybody get that joke? All right. Vagina Wrinkle 13 and Sta Chunksta. Oh wait. Oh God. I thought we were done. We're not done. Dylan from somewhere. Gray Alien. JT. Mad Dog. Gene 1313 and Smooth. Thank you so much, Hamhead. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the gifted memberships. Thank you so much. On the subject of Hamhead, here is a little note. I am being irresponsible right now. Hamhead behind the scenes is doing something for the show that we are hopefully going to get some updates on as the show goes on. That is pretty fucking awesome.
We have a man on the street.
I don't want to give it away just in case we don't get any images of it, but he's going to send us some images. It's pretty fucking great.
Shit, look at this. God.
Oh, wow. All right, Mike's.
All right.
Hold on. Mike's Shitty Internet Provider. Thank you for the $2. Thank you, Hamhead, for the membership. Oh, man. This is fantastic. I'm still going down here. What? Whoa. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Mike's Shitty Internet Provider gifted 50 Luigi Greenberg. Mike's Shitty Internet Provider. I don't know that we've ever gotten a gift that big before. Wow. Thank you so much. I am literally speechless.
Would you like me to try and plow through them?
Maybe we'll do it as the show goes on.
What am I doing here? We're just reading gifted memberships now.
Andy,
Something
you are our good luck charm because it's not normally this great.
Sweet.
It's like, shut up, Andy. You're doing great.
Andy,
It's the pickle. The pickle is bringing
yeah.
all the extra
Andy
luck.
is now a member of the show. He's going to be on the show from here on out, whether he likes it or not. Man,
in under 60 seconds if you want.
Mike's shitty. Wow, thank you so much. We are definitely going to get around.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
What happened? Well,
And even more. 100 memberships coming.
Another.
You've gotten gifted more memberships than my channel has in total.
I don't know that we've ever had this many people visit the show. That's more memberships than I've had in views.
If you could all now hit like, please.
Yes, please. I'm not kidding. I'm very speechless. I really don't know what to do right now.
He's verklempt.
Wow, thank you so much, Mike, Shooting Internet Provider. And maybe I should be thanking Andy. Andy's our good luck charm now.
Yeah.
The least I could do. I don't think I could do any less.
It's the
Oh my God. Thank you. Man, everyone does definitely deserve a mention, but man, we'd be wasting a lot of time. I'll mention this one though for Corndiff. Chops got a membership.
X-Corp did too.
Oh, he did? I didn't see that one. Okay, X-Corp got one too. Wow, thank you. Man, I'm just going to keep saying thank you. I feel like the next hour should be me just saying thank you for the next hour.
Instead of that, if you wanted, I could read 100 names.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Wow, man, thank you so much, Mike Sheen, Internet Provider. I'm just so wow. I'm just really.
Oh, you got Dave Sarah in here.
I'm humbled. Thank you so much. Okay, well, we will. Oh, okay. Gummi, thank you. I might ask you to do that. Gummi has offered to make scrolling credits for the next episode of all of those members, and I might take you up on that, Gummi. That would be great. Man, or maybe we'll do something for the credits. Anyway, all right. So, Andy, thank you so much for being here. I am very. I do apologize that I haven't been able to give you my attention, but I mean, you've seen what's been going on.
Making it rain, Andy.
I'm happy for you guys. This is wonderful.
Yes, please. As I told you backstage, this episode's going to be on the untrue stories of Frank Dux, and as I dug deep into it, I realized this was a way more complicated topic than I expected it to be, and it is going to have to be at least 2 episodes. So I'm going to preliminarily. What's that?
Is that the mayonnaise guy?
Yes. The mayonnaise guy.
I'm glad you showed up prepared, Corndiff. That makes for a good show.
Maybe there's a mayonnaise story in there. You never know.
Maybe there is. Maybe I'm the idiot.
Who are you thinking? Are you thinking of Heinz? Are you thinking of Heinz? Are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of Dukes.
Duke? I don't know Duke.
His last name is Duke, right?
Oh, yeah. It's spelled differently though. Okay, so, but this is going to have to be at least 2 episodes because the story is so insane. It is so crazy. So I am going to offer you a preliminary extension of your invitation, in which if you'd like to come back for the next episode, you are more than welcome already.
Let's see how this one goes.
Yeah. Fair enough, sir. That is fair enough. Oh my gosh, look at this. Donna G with 1999. Thank you, Donna G. Welcome, Trucker Andy. Yes, welcome, Trucker Andy.
Does that get a fart?
Does what? I'm sorry?
Does that get a fart?
Oh. You know what?
I have a soundboard too. I'll give this to Donna.
Oh, yeah.
Juicy.
Oh,
Wait. Hold on. Now hold that one to do again right after this.
Juicy.
beautiful.
Yes, and Hamhead most definitely requires man, a lot of farts, I guess, for that.
All right, how about this?
I like it.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Let's see here.
That should be Mike's City Internet Provider really getting that.
Yeah. Wait, I just realized that fart was played really low. All right, so DJ Lecture gifted 1 Luigi Greenberg membership. Thank you very much. That is my friend, DJ Electra. Please check us out this Sunday on Unboxing Eric. Wow, I'm really still just kind of stunned. I'm not
They
going to
broke
lie.
YouTube. It can't give out DJ Electra's gifted membership. There's no one left.
Yeah, I think that's true. I'm telling you, that's more views than I get.
And how drunk is this pickle? I love these eyes on this fucking pickle.
I know the eyes are great. I was pointing it out earlier, but I like it.
He's either super
It's
drunk
great
or
for
getting
happy
blown.
hour. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, here we go. Now, tell me, Andy, what do you know about Mr. Frank Dux? So, just based on not doing any preliminary research.
I think most people's point of reference for Frank Dux is the movie Bloodsport, which, if you grew up in the 80s like I did, is one of the best Van Damme movies, just hands down, right?
I'm going to take it up a notch and just say one of the best movies, period. Full stop. It is a great movie. Bloodsport is a fantastic... I assume you've seen Bloodsport, Corndiff.
Twice.
Twice
Frank-
a day for me.
Yeah, Frank Dux, the character of whom I'm speaking, did not invent mayonnaise. Instead, he
He's
is
still
the...
cool though.
He is still cool, and he still might be a topic of a future episode. He is the guy whom is played by Jean Claude Van Damme in the movie Bloodsport. I loved Bloodsport as a kid. It really was like one of my favorite movies. I saw it. I've lost count of how many times I've seen it. Just to make up for the low gain. Let me see if this plays better now.
That's better.
Okay, good.
Or were mine playing okay? I thought one of them was kind of quiet, but
One of them was a little, frankly.
based on the wrestling intro, I'd have to play this one. A little hacksaw Jim Duggan for the boys.
Big Hacksaw Jim Duggan fan here. I loved Hacksaw.
We can't move past beyond Bloodsport without bringing up the kid that plays young Frank Dux in the movie. I have to talk about it.
We will absolutely, without a doubt, talk about the kid because there's so much to talk about. In fact, he might get his own episode.
Yeah, 3 episodes of this then.
That kid, I don't even know what to call him as an identifier. Like, I could call him a bad actor. That's not enough. I could say he had a very terrible wardrobe. That's still not enough. It's a combination of so many terrible things. But you will have your opportunity to talk about that terrible actor with no sports allegiance.
It makes sense when you really look. Let's not put the cart before the horse, though.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. So, for those who don't know, Frank Dux, the Bloodsport story is actually only one of the crazy stories that this guy is told. And he's made a lot of money from telling lies. Now, typically our show is based on debunking the paranormal. Would you believe there are some paranormal aspects to Frank Dux's lies? So here's just a quick overview, is that Frank Dux is a Canadian, which obviously, not a great start. Automatically suspicious. But he is a martial artist and fight choreographer. Now that is important to the story. And he's got a lot of tall tales, but supposedly also he worked for the CIA. He was a military man, and he was involved with what was supposedly an underground martial arts competition. But everything he has to say, with the exception of very few things, has had holes poked in it because he's not a good liar. That's the amazing part about it. And that's also a really common theme of this show, is that when grifters grift, they don't always think it through.
We're talking Fight Club?
It was a lot easier to bullshit in the 80s before the internet. So.
Yes. And the internet immediately became Frank Dux's enemy. So I guess we can get right to it. Thank you, Dang Lizard, for becoming a member. Man, the bar has been set really high today. That might be it for generosity.
No.
But man, thank you again. I am really just still confounded. I just, wow. I don't know what to say or do. But anyway, let's get to our story. Honestly, I feel like everyone just needs to line up, and I just need to give out a big row of blowjobs. Thank you for all the generosity. Maybe you'll have your opportunity. Here we go.
Next week.
Maybe next week. You never know.
If you were at all familiar with John Keane, you probably know him better by his...
Okay, so now what we're going to first start off with is a little bit of a recap in what we covered last week, which was a guy named Count Dante. Now, the reason that this is important to Frank Dux' story is because we are now doing a series of famous martial arts conmen. And there's going to be 4 of them. Count Dante was the guy who paved the way for martial arts con jobs, martial arts grifting. And what's interesting is that Frank Dux latches his story onto the story of Count Dante, specifically by some of the things that Count Dante created in his story. Now, are you aware of any of that part of the Frank Dux story, Trucker Andy?
No, I'm not. Please tell me more.
Okay, and I will. How about you, Corndiff? Do you know anything about, well...
Yes, and.
Okay. Mayonnaise.
moniker Count Dante. First of
Can
all,
everybody
the
hear it
original
okay?
Black Dragon Fighting Society, or the Kokorukai, started as a paramilitary group and unofficial propaganda and special operations extension of the Japanese Imperial Army. These guys were martial artists, and the use of the kumite, or free fighting, or sparring as we know it, was used as a method of testing a member's fighting ability versus another. The group was officially disbanded in 1946 by the American...
Okay, so I want to just kind of set the stage here for what we're talking about. That was a lot already, in that Count Dante created this organization that he called the Black Dragon Fighting Society. Okay. And hello?
Hello?
Oh, yep, sorry.
Was that you, Corndiff?
Is that your Section 8 smoke detector going off?
Was that censoring me? He creates this thing called the Black Dragon Fighting Society based out of a Japanese paramilitary group where he got the idea and the name. That's very, very important, is going to play a very pivotal role in the story of Mr. Dux. Here we go.
American occupation authorities, though some insist that fragments of it still exist in other areas of the world. Where the Chicago version factors in is where we circle back to John Keane. Keane had spent some time in the Marines, and like many Americans in the 50s, had become hugely enamored with the world of exotic Asian martial arts. He spent some time training under aforementioned karate godfather Robert Trias when he opened his first school in Arizona, and quickly moved up the ranks, both literally and figuratively. It wasn't long before Keane became a focal point of Trias' expansion plans, and soon the two were running an organization called the United States.
Okay, that's another name that is going to be important to Frank Dux' story, Robert Trias. I'm sorry if I'm making people have to take notes. It is just a complicated story. It was so much more complicated than I expected, but I promise it is going to get very, very absurd and interesting.
Karate Association, with Keane as the group's Midwest representative. At the time, Keane was in his early 20s, brash, and full of wild stories such as being a guerrilla fighting in the mountains of the Cuban Revolution. He was also much more interested in the dramatic and flashier aspects of martial arts, and so he began organizing tournaments at places like the University of Illinois Fieldhouse as a way to draw bigger audiences. This ran in direct opposition to Bob Trias' idea for his burgeoning organization, and so after a falling out, Keane was expelled from the USKA in December of 19...
Okay, so again, just trying to keep everybody up. If everybody's able to actually, keep up with this, then I'll stop stopping it. But I just want to make sure that everyone does just catch everything, because it's kind of fast. But this guy was basically a loose cannon as far as the martial arts world was considered. And he started making enemies by teaching black people in a very racist part of Chicago. And then started teaching them, hey, you know, or making suggestions at karate competitions where they literally had rules that would say you can't touch each other. And he was like, we're teaching them how to punch. Why are we allowed to touch each other? And that also made enemies. They're like, no, this is traditional how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to touch each other. And he was like, that's fucking stupid. And they kicked him out. He made enemies. So are we keeping up with this? Everybody on the same page here? Okay.
Why is so much of martial arts based on gatekeeping? We saw this in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. They didn't like that Bruce Lee was teaching anybody that wanted to learn. Suddenly, white people appropriating Asian culture aren't allowed to teach black people. It's very racist. Martial arts is racist, is what I'm saying.
I mean, you're right. That's such a fantastic point, because gatekeeping becomes the focal point. That's such a great point that you just mentioned. Gatekeeping becomes a focal point of Frank Dux' story.
Yeah.
Specifically, the fact that he is a white guy being taught by a Japanese instructor. It's not quite what happened in the movie, but still, that's exactly what happens. And there is a story to go along with the gatekeeping in which he has to prove himself because he's white and not Asian, that we're going to talk about. But that really sums it up. And that gave people an opportunity to make up so many, like, just surreal, fantastic stories that they got to lie about and tell other people that this is what happened, because there was so much mystery surrounding the Asian side of the world at this time. It was considered to be, exotic and mysterious.
It still is. I mean, what is on
true.
that garbage island that they're building in the middle of the ocean? We don't know.
Oh, let me tell you, Corndiff introduced me to a Chinese concept last Sunday. The gutter oil.
The happy ending? What?
I have never come so close to puking live on the stream.
What is it? Tell me. What is this?
Do you want to describe it, Corn? I'm like, I might not make it if I describe it. You describe it, Corndiff.
There's a whole industry. I think it was in China.
It was in China.
Yeah, whole industry in China of people who. All right, so a lot of their foods are cooked in oils, right?
Yeah.
All right. Oh God.
These places they go through a lot of oil. So people recognize that, and they built an industry around it. And how do you do that? Well, you get the oil cheap. How do you get oil cheap? You just got to find unconventional places to get oil from. And then once you process it, you can sell it back to hotels and restaurants for less than other suppliers can provide, approved, quote, air quotes, approved oils for. So the only problem is where they're sourcing this oil from is the literal sewer drains.
Wow.
And they are boiling turds and harvesting oils and selling it to restaurants to cook their food in. It was what Corndiff showed me was a news television show. It was a British news television show that was reporting on this and showing the steps of how to create this turd oil.
So when somebody says this is cooked in peanut oil, you don't know if it's a secondhand peanut or a fresh peanut.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's what we learned later was that I was like, are they just calling it turd oil? And it turns out, no, they're putting fake labels on it and calling it, what was it, like something seed oil. God. I mean, Jesus Christ. I literally started.
It's called feseed.
I was dry heaving. It was so. Anyway, back to our conversation about exotic and mysterious. On Monday, I texted Corndiff and told him that I was about to go have some lunch, and the thought of eating Chinese food made my stomach turn, and I started like literally getting queasy.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. So,
That's great.
yes, there you go, Delta Zero. God bless America. That sums it up. But yes, that's what we get from the Asian world that these guys were so obsessed with. All right. We're a minute into this fucking video.
1964. Free to now do as he pleased, Kian really began to go off the rails here, and this is where he forms the Chicago chapter of the Black Dragons, naming it as an homage to Senzo Tanaka, according to Frank Dux. But in all reality,
Okay, so that's our first connection. This guy, Count Dante, creates Black Dragon Fighting Society and then dies. Frank Dux now basically takes up the mantle and just starts associating himself with this Black Dragon Fighting Society. It's really just a name. It's a franchise title, and he is now. What's that?
I was going to say he's the Dread Pirate Roberts of white martial arts.
Exactly. And he's saying that he runs into this guy, Tanaka, who was portrayed in the movie, but Tanaka was a spy on behalf of the military, the paramilitary organization, Black Dragon Fighting Society, and was also a spy. And then I'm really trying to summarize the story because it actually starts to build and get way more overly complicated. Yes, Bergsnake. Funny how the Black Dragon Fighting Society doesn't have a black dragon as their as their logo. Go figure.
Good point.
All right, here we go. So there's just so many lies is what is interesting about this. But now we're gonna just see basically where Frank Dux' story originates.
having absolutely nothing to do with the original group. In 1965, Kian is arrested and given probation for attempting to blow out a rival dojo's window with a dynamite cap. Also,
Did you hear that? There were wars between karate dojos, and he got caught setting dynamite on another karate dojo. Yeah.
at this time, he famously bought a lion cub, which was still somehow legal at this time, and walked it around Lake Michigan like a dog. In 1967, he officially changed his name to Count Juan Rafael Dante, predicated on reclaiming some apparent royal title that his relatives abandoned during the Spanish Civil War or something. He began the first of his many side hustles in addition to being a karate master, opening a salon and becoming a hairdresser. No, I am not making any of this up. And that same year, he authored what would become...
He was a hairdresser, folks.
Noble profession, I guess.
And our last guest, JT, pointed out that, maybe I shouldn't draw any conclusions about a hairdresser in the 60s. But the evidence speaks for itself.
an infamous publication in the annals of martial arts history, World's Deadliest Fighting Secrets, containing secrets inspired by Kung Fu Dim Mak or poison hand strikes. Secrets such as being able to strike a man, leave no outside mark, but have him die days later from his injuries.
All right, so now this is the paranormal aspect of Frank Dux' story. This guy, Count Dante, started doing this Dim Mak death touch, I should say doing, started teaching in these books, and they sold like hotcakes. He started telling people, if you really want to kill somebody, here's how you do it. You touch them like this, and it won't leave a mark. And, of course, it was nonsense and bullshit, and it turned out it was way more complicated than just touching someone. It depended what time of the day it was, because your chi is in different places of your body in different times of the day. Sometimes it could be under the chest, sometimes it could be an armpit, and in one particular part of the day, it was the butthole where your chi was located. Not kidding.
That must be the part of the day right after he gets off his shift at the hair salon.
Yeah, while he's on the clock at the hair salon. And so it was bullshit. It was nonsense. Now, whereas reasonable people saw that and laughed at it, Frank Dux saw an opportunity. I can get to that butthole better than you can. Now, if that would have been in Bloodsport, that would have been a great part of the movie. The dim mak gets mentioned in Bloodsport, by the way. Anyway, but no buttholes
Anyway, this
that I remember.
pamphlet was highly advertised in comic books and the like, and Count Dante, the deadliest man who ever lived, became a very rich but very scrutinized character. All the while, he still organized what he described as full-contact martial arts tournaments, though some described as looking like nothing more than amateur boxing tournaments. And Dante became a central figure in the Chicago Dojo Wars, leading to an infamous altercation on the night of April 24th, 1970. Dante and a group of his students, dressed as police officers, ended a dojo storm on rival Green Dragon Society's Black Cobra Hall, attacking several of its students.
There was a giant brawl between guys dressed as cops and people in a karate dojo. Now, the best part of this story, and I mean, it just does not get emphasized enough, was that when the dojo was getting attacked, they went for weapons. And what weapons did they use? The Chinese ancient weapons that were on the wall. They had spears and nunchucks and swords.
This is insane.
It is insane. And this really fucking happened. It is insane. And yes, and it turns into basically the the Anchorman brawls.
Yeah. What they don't mention is that the other dojo, it wasn't even a Chinese dojo. It was Mexicans doing karate. It was white and black cops fighting Mexican kung fu masters.
That, you know what? Write that down. That's I'm pitching that to my contacts at Disney.
Bloodsport 2.
Oh, did you know there's already been 4 Bloodsports?
That makes sense.
None of them were popular after Jean Claude Van Damme left. He did the first one, and there were more. Yeah, it gets, one of them's in prison, I think. It's weird. And then there was a female version called Lady Bloods. I'm not making this up.
No,
not making that up.
Aware of that one, yeah.
It's unknown what exactly the source of the conflict was, but when it was all over, Count Dante's friend and top student, Jim Konovic, had been stabbed through the stomach with a sword and died on the sidewalk outside while they attempted to flee. The man who did the stabbing, 20-year-old Jerome Greenwald, was charged with murder, but Dante got off on aggravated assault charges as it was expected his lawyer had ties to the criminal underworld. Dante
Somehow our conversation about turd oil made LaTanya Vegas actually want Chinese food. To each his own. No judgment here.
His reputation, however, was tarnished beyond repair, and his later years were spent hawking porno magazines, spiraling into a mix of alcohol and pills, running afoul of real Chicago gangsters, and being questioned by the state's attorney about his role in a possible heist of more than $4 million from the headquarters of the Purelator Secretary in late 1974. He would die at the age of 36 in his apartment on May 25, 1975, due to complications from bleeding ulcers brought on by his harsh lifestyle.
The Holy
Okay, so I just want to summarize. The guy who had laid the foundation for martial arts con artistry lived until he was 36 years old.
He lived 3 lives. I can't believe he was only 36.
Exactly. And died from a cocaine overdose, essentially. Was a pornographer. Wanted in a $4 million robbery from some sort of armored car service, I believe it was. And decided to write books on how to kill people with fingers. Okay, that was this guy. Crazy, crazy lies, crazy life. And then he dies, and Frank Dux says, I'm going to pick up where this guy left off.
Hold my beer.
Trinity of martial arts bullshitters are arguably Dukes, Ashita Kim, and Count.
Go on, LaTanya Vegas. Talk slowly. Just kidding.
Dante. There's a thread of deceit woven into the fabric of each man, an invisible yet indelible strand that links all three men at their very core. They all claim membership of the Black Dragon Fighting Society.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about. And it's actually also giving you a little bit of a preview of future episodes. We're going to be talking about two other guys, other than Count Dante and Frank Dux, a guy named Ashita Kim and a guy named George Dillman. George Dillman, I guess, is a little bit of an outsider, but he definitely belongs here in the Grifters. But that's the connection here. And I felt like that was important before we started just doing a deep dive into Frank Dux' life.
The BDFS is either a secret society that has existed in the shadows for millennia, or a marketing gimmick started by Dante to sell copies of his deadliest fighting arts book. While he is considered by many to be a fake martial artist, Dante was allegedly a real criminal with a propensity for solving problems by blowing them the fuck up.
So, I think that speaks for itself. Really, Count Dante was a fucking lunatic. He was a crazy guy, and we didn't really talk much about the specific martial arts he taught, but basically, he was, in fact, a dangerous person. He wore, like, crazy things, like see-through fishnet stockings. He wore a cape and a beret, all in an effort to get people to start a fight with him so that he could demonstrate his martial arts. And if you study what he was teaching, it was really mainly trying to kick the balls, rip the balls off, and hit the throat. Things that are effective, but maybe not as classy as your traditional martial arts. So, anyway.
I have a yellow belt in ripping nuts off.
I tried to go for my black, but there weren't too many volunteers who let me practice on them. Trucker Andy, I don't expect that you've watched every episode of the show, but we did an intro to Bullshido. You know what? I should have given that introduction. If you're not familiar with the term Bullshido, it is a slang term for ineffective and pseudoscience martial arts, the kind that basically have, advertise supernatural powers or just are ineffective and lame and stupid, which there's plenty of that too.
I think I've seen some of those things on social media where some guys, whatever, he waves his hand and subordinate's face and the guy just passes out, and it's all supposedly channeling chi, and really it's maybe like a confidence scheme.
That's 100% what it is, and that's what this is going to devolve into. Our first two are the guys who laid the foundation. The last two are the guys who actually do that shit. But if you did watch the intro to Bullshido episode, I tell a story about something that happened to me when I was 9 years old. I was very involved with karate. I took it very seriously. With the style at the time was to watch ninja movies. There were lots of those, and being exposed to all of that stuff. And one time during a karate class, I did a high kick and farted really loudly while my father and four of my cousins were in the audience laughing at me very loudly. And once my feet hit the ground, I started laughing, and it was just over, and I never went back.
Well, that's okay. I did the Simpsons trivia thing at the Dabble House, so we all have our moments.
Andy, I would have fucking murdered at that game. I liked it. I kept thinking, I want to be there. I want to play this game.
Thank you. Next time.
Next time, please. All right. So here we are, a little bit of a break, little transition. So now let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend, the lies, Frank Dux.
At some point in the past, you may have bore witness to the ridiculous action film Bloodsport, starring Jean Claude Van Damme. Released in 1988.
That's what I thought.
The film follows Van Damme as he participates in a secret martial arts tournament and ends up beating everybody because he's the main character. The film itself is your standard 80s martial arts action film, but what really got me interested was the end credit sequence, which states that the movie was based off the real-life exploits of a man named Frank Dux. However, upon...
Okay, does anyone remember reading that, like, for the first time at the end of that movie? Because I do remember reading it the first time and thinking, well, that's amazing. What's this guy doing, every other day?
Right. Yeah. Back then, it's just like, well, it must be true if it's in a movie.
Yeah, sadly. Tanya Vegas, he spells it Dux gay. I agree. It's French. But yeah, I remember reading that but it was funny. I think I saw this. I must have been, I don't know, 9, 10, something like that when I watched it. And I remembered reading that. And I guess I've just been a skeptic my whole life. I was like, where can I see this? We're going to get into his claims and we're going to talk about how fucking stupid they are.
A lot of the claims, I think, were like how fast the punches were and things like that. So what do you have? A policeman's speeding gun?
Yes.
How are they gauging this?
How were they gauging it in 1975? Yes. We are going to talk about it. And also the numbers. The numbers he racked up. Somebody actually did the math. Anyway, all right.
In a preliminary investigation, it seems as if Mr. Dux...
I'm realizing I'm getting heated about this because this pisses me off. It's so stupid. It's just such lies. But what sucks is that, like you, Trucker Andy, I loved this movie as a kid, and I feel deceived. I feel like he was deceiving an impressionable, naive 10-year-old kid. And now that I'm an adult, I want to fight him because he lied to me.
Is there any evidence or video footage of the actual Frank Dux competing?
Hold on. We're going to get there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great.
Dux is either the greatest martial artist of this century or just a very imaginative con artist with way too much time on his hands.
Frank Dux' claims range from extraordinary to just absurd. He claims to have been trained in ninjutsu at the age of 13. He says that he was trained by Sanzo Tanaka. His mentor apparently was a ninjutsu spy belonging to the Black Dragon Society. This all sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Frank claims to have been a CIA operative, an intelligence man for the NSA. He claims to have been in the Special Forces for the Marine Corps, top secret missions. One of them, he got stranded in Laos with a small team of men. A lot of them died. His stomach was cut open with a bayonet, and he had shrapnel lodged into his back, but still, he and his few good men managed to march from Laos back to base in Thailand. He claims because of this, he received the Medal of Honor. He claims that the president himself was the one who awarded Frank Dux with the medal. By the way, there is no record of Frank Dux being awarded the Medal of Honor. In fact, the LA Times discovered that Dux was investigated by the FBI for wearing fraudulent military decorations and recommended to the U.S. Attorney in Los Angeles that Dux be prosecuted. Here's a photo of Frank holding a trophy that he says he won in an underground...
Okay. Now, what's amazing is that when you're lying, a reasonable person who doesn't lie often tends to kind of put parameters and limits on lies to say, if I keep up going down this road of lying, it's eventually going to become unbelievable and I'm going to lose credibility. Not this fucking asshole.
It's not like you can get a fake diploma from NYU, like somebody you know. Or...
Fantastic example, sir. Getting a fake diploma from NYU. This guy couldn't just say, I won a Medal of Honor and show off a fake one. He had to say, I won the Medal of Honor and it was given to me by the President of the United States. That's where it becomes verifiable. That's where people can look into it. You have opened the door for people to debunk your claims because you're stupid.
Luigi, I know we just got done saying that we hate this guy, but after that clip package, I'm kind of coming back around because it looks like season 7 of Married with Children, and he looks like Al Bundy taking a karate class in a lot of these clips, and I'm all about that.
Okay, hold on now. If we recreate Married with Children, but instead of 4 touchdowns for Polk High in a single game, it is, I won the Kumite in 1975. I want this made. Thank you, Dang Lizard, for the €2. Luigi versus Frank in a secret Bloodsport tournament. Stay tuned. We might make it happen because we have someone on the staff here who can make shit like that happen.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. Make it, Gummy.
If you haven't seen me fighting Ed Warren, yes, Luigi Greenberg fought Ed Warren in a casket match in front of a WWE crowd. It was fabulous. Gummy is the man. Gummy rules.
Yes.
Yes, 4 Kumites in one night. Okay, so here's what's funny also, Trucker Andy, is that, I keep saying Trucker Andy. Is it okay if I just call you Andy? Is that all right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. Andy, what's funny is that I am not going to judge you on saying that you're coming back around, because there is a point of this story where I actually admired Frank Dux' balls because I thought to myself, that is such an unbelievable lie. I can't believe he actually said it. And I will point it out when we get to it. It is a mind-blowing lie. and then at that point I'm like, you know what? Maybe he didn't beat a bunch of people up, but the dude's got balls. Okay, hold on. So did the Kumite have engravers on hand? Oh, Gummy, we're going to answer that question. On hand for the trophy, or did they have one made for every competitor and then send all the loser plaques to Africa? Gummy, we're going to answer that right now. Actually, I'm going to back this up just a tiny bit because I did step over it a little. Here we go. God damn it. I pushed it back too far. Now I can't risk it. Okay, we're gonna cover about 15 more seconds than I wanted to, but here we go.
Awarded Frank Dux with the medal. By the way, there is no record of Frank Dux being awarded the Medal of Honor. In fact, the LA Times discovered that Dux was investigated by the FBI for wearing fraudulent military decorations and recommended to the U.S. Attorney in Los Angeles that Dux be prosecuted. Here's a photo of Frank holding a trophy that he says he won in an underground death match called the Kumite. Here's a quote from a North Hollywood trophy shop saying that they made the trophy. The shop even produced a receipt proving the purchase, but Frank...
He had it made for himself.
His mustache placed fifth. Fucking mustache is out of control.
Here's my trophy that I was awarded for the Kumite. And because we also had some spare time on our hand, here's the trophy I got for world's largest penis.
It was buy one, get one at the trophy store.
Yes. He bought his own trophy at an LA trophy shop, and the trophy shop gave him a receipt. Now, there is a little bit of a controversy over this, and we will get to that as well because I do want to be fair. Now, I'm sorry, whoever I just interrupted.
No, that's okay. But I did want to say that there are often times where people are awarded trophies or medals and things like that, and it's not uncommon to have to pay for them yourself. It's, I don't know. It's not something that I've never heard of before. I'll just say that.
He had to also order it himself.
That's probably not. I don't know why I'm defending this asshole.
His name was on the order form. Now, this in combination with another fact about the Kumite is really going to probably cement the facts in your mind once we get to it. But a little bit at a time. All right. How we doing, Corndiff? You still a fan of this guy? You still think you still love his mayonnaise?
Now I'm going to go get my own gold YouTube play button made. I never thought about just getting this shit, just going straight to the trophy shop.
You know what? I actually thought about doing that as a joke.
I have a route.
I don't even have 1,000 subscribers, so I thought it'd be funny if I just said, "Look what YouTube sent me."
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
God damn it.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, good. But make it a WWE Championship belt that YouTube sent me.
You tard.
Yes. All right. Let's see. Here we go.
Frank says it was all fabricated, most likely by his arch rival, Stephen Hayes, a well-known ninja trainer from Ohio.
In the fall of 1980, a United States Marine named...
Now that's what's funny, and that's something that we find a lot with grifters, is that they have a specific enemy in mind to shift blame to. I find that to be so childish and so immature for an adult to say. If somebody says, "Oh, hey, we caught you in a lie." No. You know what? I know who gave you this lie. His name's Ralph, and he works over there, and that guy, he's the one who did this.
Yeah.
They
know the other one is a bullshit artist. So they're like, this guy's more full of shit than me. No, you are.
Look, I know you think I'm full of shit, but have you checked out that guy? That is just such a red flag for lies and con artistry, is when you have someone in mind to point it out. Yeah.
It's like Ray DeVito and Chad having a roast battle. It's you both suck.
And I never even thought about crossing that over to the Dabbleverse, but wow. You know what? Hold on. I feel like you deserve some applause for that.
We did it, everyone.
That was really good. I never would have made that connection. Bravo. Oh, yes, and ham-headed if you're out there. Oh, shit. Oh, I hit the wrong one. Damn it. All right, now I got to wait. I was going to do a long fart for him, but I totally fucked that up.
Mike Walker fart.
The Mike Walker fart! Yes!
Okay.
The Mike. I used to pay Cardiff to play the Mike Walker fart.
Well, I'll give it to you for free.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Oh, man. All right. Here we go. Let's keep going.
Frank Dux authored 2 articles that would end up making the September and October issues of Black Belt magazine, the premier and most well-known martial arts publication at the time, with hands down the best covers of all time. The credibility from these articles and goodwill it brought allowed Dukes to get the ear of Black Belt editor Jon Stewart, and with it he began to weave a fascinating tale of his supposed real-life exploits as the grand champion of an underground fighting tournament organized in secret every 5 years to pit the best of the best from across the globe against one another. This story would become the subject of a November 1980 Black Belt article entitled Kumite, A Learning Experience, and from here it would
So this is where Bloodsport first starts. This is where it originates.
snowball into a Hollywood movie that is still a pop culture icon and an unknown inspiration for a great number of things we know today. It would also...
Now, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I do want to talk about it a little bit. Unknowingly, did you know... I assume that there's going to be a lot of video game fans here, at least video game fans, at least you were a video game fan in the 80s and 90s. Frank Dux did make a positive contribution to our world in that he is responsible for the game Mortal Kombat. Did you know this?
How so?
Because originally the game was supposed to be called Bloodsport.
Oh.
And the character of Johnny Cage was supposed to be modeled after Jean Claude Van Damme. After production had started on the game, the deal fell through for the rights to the story, and the video game publisher said, well, we can't just throw all this shit away. Let's add some supernatural elements and still try to see if we can make it as a game. And they called it Mortal Kombat. But they left in the parody of Jean Claude Van Damme, Johnny Cage.
I love it.
Cage.
So,
I mean, it does seem when you're watching this movie, you feel like you're watching the movie version of Street Fighter. That you watch it and then you go play Street Fighter, and it was a great time to be a young boy in the 80s.
It's essentially also the exact same plot as Enter the Dragon. With a white guy instead.
And then you go watch Ogre in Revenge of the Nerds, and
he was great.
A lot of that. So I love him in this too.
He is great. All right, so
also garner both fame and infamy for Frank Dux, as he would become a renowned name in the martial arts community, for better and for worse. Dux' claims and his ego grew more and more grandiose until he became the focal point of not only detractors drawing the attention to serious holes in his stories, but also multiple ugly lawsuits and eventually a polarizing argument about whether or not this man was nothing more than an incredibly skilled con artist.
From 1975 to 1981, Dux served in the United States Marine Corps Reserve, and from 1988 onward he worked sporadically as a fight coordinator and writer for a few action films. And that's it. You may notice that there is very little information on this list. This is primarily because almost everything said by Dux about his life has been heavily contested and denied by various sources, and for good reason. Let's start with his supposed military service. Now, it has been confirmed that Dux did indeed serve in the Marine Corps Reserve for 6 years. However, during this time, there is no record of him ever serving overseas nor receiving awards or decorations of any kind. However, this has not stopped Dux from unleashing a slew of incredible claims about his supposed military achievements. For starters, Dux claimed that he had enlisted and been deployed in Southeast Asia and the Vietnam War. However, there is no record of this anywhere, and the Vietnam War had actually ended before he even enlisted.
He went around saying, after enlisting in the Army in 1975, or the Marine Corps, sorry, in 1975, yeah, I had some old Nam buddies, and I did a tour in Nam.
Yeah.
You know when Nam ended? 1973. His lies are amazing.
It sounds like my father, who was only 19 years older than me, he used to tell me that he was in Nam. The way like Howard Stern in Private Parts used to talk about. My dad used to do that for real.
Wow. That's funny.
Stolen Valor.
Yes, Stolen Valor. Wow, that is actually really funny. I'd love to hear someone just tell me a lie about serving in Nam. You know, like if I knew they were lying, I'd just be like, regale me. Tell me.
However, in his memoir, Secret Man, An American Warrior's Uncensored Story, which has since been pulled from publication due to controversy, Dux claimed to have served.
That is true, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. He wrote a book. It got released and then got pulled because of too many lies. Yeah.
Overseas in Vietnam, where he allegedly earned the Medal of Honor and
Jean
other esteemed
Claude
decorations.
Van Damme, he's a little nutty, right?
I'm sorry, say it again?
Jean Claude Van Damme, he's a little nutty, right?
You know what's funny? I never knew about his nuttiness until I actually started researching this, but you are right.
Okay.
I
had that suspicion, but I couldn't remember exactly why. But I've read or seen some things about him. I'm man, that's funny. I'm stuttering bad.
Are you talking about when he had an erection in public? Is that
ring robot?
I haven't heard that one. That's funny though.
He's like getting interviewed on a talk show, and they ask him to get up and dance or demonstrate something, and he's got like a half a rod.
That's fun. No, I haven't. Oh my God, that's funny. What I was thinking of was when doing research on this, someone tried to make a connection that comes a little bit later, and that is that apparently Frank Dux and Jean Claude Van Damme become business partners for a little while. And the video was trying to just say, how could a smart guy fall for this guy's nonsense? And they did a little bit of research into Jean Claude Van Damme's background, and I'm okay with attributing a lot of it to culture, but he really leaned into being gay for the first half of his career, and it just turned out he wasn't. and it's a really odd thing. I didn't include any of that in this because it was irrelevant, but I did watch this video that this person put together, and I was kind of captivated by it. Like,
you're talking about Van Damme being gay for pay?
Not necessarily gay for pay, but it was, he had movie roles, not porn movie roles, but he had movie roles in which he was a gay guy, and frequently. And
Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Well, no, I mean movies that were in French before he'd even come over to America.
Oh,
And-
well, that makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about, attributing it to culture. But apparently he did it a lot. And then they started showing these stills that he had made of him as promotional stills. Yeah. And he is naked in a lot of them. Like fully naked, just hiding his junk with something. And it is very gay. So
Well,
it was,
that was the thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, he is a talented martial artist, and he just knew that it would translate to the screen. I think Bloodsport was Canon Pictures. I think the whole thing. I don't know if this was his first American movie.
This
Probably.
was his first. Yes.
He just got the producer. He did a legit elevator pitch, where he just convinced the guy that he could be the next Bruce Lee, and it pretty much worked.
There are conflicting stories about how that happened, but I believe that's probably the most logical one. Supposedly, there were two main heads of Canon Films, if you know that story, and supposedly they were fed lies and information that he was a huge action star overseas, and they just didn't bother looking into it. That's another story about how he got it.
I believe that as well.
Yeah, I believe that one too. Yeah, but ultimately, you're right. He somehow got a hold of somebody and just said, "Hey, look what I can do. I can do the splits. I'm cut. I'm handsome. What else do I need?" Anyway, but yes, this all stemmed from Corn's question about is he nutty. There's definitely some nuttiness there, but
I was thinking so.
yeah, I just can't put my finger on it, I guess is really what I'm trying to say.
But there are zero official records of Dux ever leaving the US and serving overseas, and his service records indicate no sign of ever receiving the commendations he claimed to have earned. In fact, the Freedom of Information Act reveals that in 1978, military doctors recommended that Dux seek psychiatric evaluation for exhibiting, quote, flighty and disconnected ideas.
So not only has he been caught in these lies, we're able to look at his military record, and psychiatrists had pointed out red flags of his lies and his... Well, I mean, what do you even call that? Like, just insanity.
Being a sociopath is what
Yeah.
Even more damning, in B.G. Burkett's award-winning book Stolen Valor, the author outed Dux as a fraud who never served in Vietnam at all, especially since the war had already concluded by the time he enlisted. But Dux refuted this by saying he never claimed that he served in Vietnam specifically, only clandestine missions in
I want everyone to understand that.
Yeah, there's no way to prove it, is what he's saying.
He's saying there's no way to prove it didn't happen also. He's saying,
right.
He's saying, look, and we're gonna hone in on that. But yes, he was telling people he went to Nam. He was telling people he did this. So then people are saying that those timelines don't add up. And he was like, I never said I went to Nam. I never said I did that.
And it was a black ops, and there's no record of the mission.
That's yes, and then he leans on that too. But it's funny because practically every lie he tells, somebody did some digging.
Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
However, Dux is again contradicted in his infamous 1980 interview with Black Belt magazine in an article entitled Kumite, A Learning Experience, which states he has a distinguished military record in the Vietnam conflict.
So there you go. He started telling people, I never said I went to Vietnam. I never said that. You're all lying, gaslighting people. So people said, no, fuckwad, you said it right here. And he's like, oh. Oh, you read that.
Likewise, a 1987 issue of Inside Kung Fu magazine also described Dux as a Vietnam veteran. In Stolen Valor, Burkett included a photo of Dux posing in his military uniform, proudly boasting his honorary medals and ribbons, which were incorrectly displayed.
However, his decorations were out of order, and the Medal of Honor shown in the photo was actually the version given to U.S. Army servicemen, despite the fact that he was a Marine.
Now, I'm going to ask you guys, what way did he weasel out of this story? He was a Marine and was caught in a camera that, or caught on camera in a picture that he submitted himself to be included with the Black Belt magazine article that created Bloodsport, with stolen valor, the wrong medals, and the wrong progression of medals. How did he respond to being called out to this?
I don't know. That's a tough one. He's creative. I'm curious to see what he did.
I'm going to say I accidentally picked up my friend's jacket that was right next to mine.
Good one. That's pretty good.
That's probably a better lie than what he actually said.
It is. Here we go.
When he was asked about why he was wearing the wrong medal, Dux said that the military had never explained the reason to him, which is basically the equivalent of saying, I don't know. Several years later, Dux changed his story to say that his uniform was actually a Halloween costume, and then he later claimed that he never said anything about a Medal of Honor in the first place.
Fucking insane. That was going to be my second excuse. Halloween costume.
He gives 3 different answers. One of them being, with secret people who do secret missions, sometimes you don't get told why they do the things they do. Which, honestly, if he would have leaned into that one, that probably could have gotten some steam.
I don't know I didn't look up what all the medals look like. This is just the one they gave me. I didn't know what it was called.
Exactly. Look, man, I've done a lot of great things. I've lost track. And then line number 2 is that was a Halloween costume. Why would a Marine be wearing Army medals as a Halloween? I don't know, but fine, whatever. That's your lie. It was a Halloween costume.
That would be like a doctor going to a Halloween party as a doctor. That's so stupid.
A gynecologist going as an oncologist. Makes no sense. And then line number 3 is, I never said I had a Medal of Honor. God. This is where I'm saying I start to admire him for his balls, because this is so fucking stupid and crazy. Some part of me wishes I didn't have a conscience so I could have lived Frank Dux's lies.
A recovered psychiatric evaluation from 1978 says that Dux was prone to flighty and disconnected ideas. Dux was particularly fond of saying that the military had sabotaged his records, a claim that would see extremely heavy use over the coming years. Moving on to Dux's apparently legendary martial arts career. First of all, Dux claimed that he had participated in a secret martial arts tournament in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
I don't want to move past the claim that the military would sabotage his record. To what end, Frank? Why would they need to do? Why would they want to do that? Why would they do that? There's to sully your good name. There's no reason to do that.
And that goes right back to me saying how you lose credibility when you have an enemy that you blame stuff on. That is exactly the exact same playbook where he's saying, well, look, you caught me in a bunch of lies, but I have enemies who have been sabotaging me. And then in my mind, I never really have a tendency to believe a conspiracy theorist when they simply use the word they. As soon as you use the word they, I'm out. Like I can't even follow your train of thought unless there is a specific person that you can tell me. Just using they don't want you to see this, or they blah 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 blah. I can't pay attention.
It's Corey Feldman's wolf pack. It's a cabal of pedophiles.
100%. Yes, that is the ramblings of a paranoid schizophrenic, and that is what this is. They, the army, they have it out for me. No, you're lying. Yeah, it's amazing. It is amazing.
Bahamas called the Kumite and won several world records for getting 56 consecutive
Now, we're going to get into the records.
knockouts and the fastest ever knockout time of 0.12 seconds.
Okay. Now for the practical part of Skeptical Robot. Andy,
Yes.
you are our guest, and so you are going to help me prove or disprove this claim made by Mr. Dukes. Now, I have a stopwatch here right in front of me. Okay?
Yep.
We're going to test how fast 0.12 seconds is. Now, Mr. Dukes' claim is that he knocked out a human being, made them unconscious in 0.12 seconds. Now, typically in regulated sports, that time frame also includes the determination made by the referee.
Like you can't even press play on your stopwatch that fast. It's like it's impossible.
Let's see how fast. Just to give it some concrete numbers here, okay? So now what I would love for you to do is shout start and stop as soon as you can. So it could literally be start, stop.
Yep.
And I am going to push the button here on my stopwatch, and I will tell you what it reads. Okay, so whenever you're ready.
Okay. Start, stop.
That was 0.46 seconds. Okay, let's do it again one more time.
I'll count down to 3. So you know when it's coming. Okay.
Got it.
1, 2, 3. Start, stop.
0.21.
Yeah.
0.21.
Say it. You can't even say it that fast, let alone draw your fist back or whatever you think you're about to do. You can't even think about it that fast.
No, I can't think about it. Yeah, 0.21 is very, very close to doubling.
No, you said 0.21. It's 0.1.
No. I got 0.21 on my stopwatch, which is very close to double the 0.12 number. I mean, just amazing lies. Amazing. Oh, here we go. Hamhead, thank you for the $5. How we doing, Hamhead? I haven't gotten any pics. Let's see. Oh, no public pic of it right now. Oh, geez, but the ghost is now home. Okay. Welcome to the club. Wow. All right. Okay. So, all right. You said a lot. So I guess I have to say what was going on now. Okay. Thank you for the $5, Hamhead. Oh, wait. Here we go.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Is that the ghost on your shirt? He added onto a tattoo of his.
He is getting a Skeptical Robot logo tattoo.
Oh, shit.
And I was so honored. I said, look, I want live. If you can give me live updates, I will post the live updates on the show. Yeah, amazing. It's really very cool. Okay. Well, maybe next episode we'll just do a progression shot, so we don't show a lot of blood. I don't think that's going to go over well with YouTube. But people know what they're getting, my audience. Oh, here you go. Rumble Trenchcoat. Thank you for the $5. You couldn't even pull a trigger. Great point, Rumble Trenchcoat, a Columbo podcast. Thank you for the $5. You couldn't even pull a trigger in 0.12 seconds. Me hitting a button on my phone twice in a row couldn't make that 0.12 seconds. So what he is saying can either be supernatural abilities or the lies of a drunken idiot.
Yeah,
you be the judge.
You have to walk that. Like maybe you'd be like, oh, I meant 1.2, and even that's still impossible. But 0.12 is insane to even say.
Knockout. To even say yes, that's. I hate this man. I hate this guy. All right, let's hear. And then some of the records miraculously change as time goes on.
He also claimed that, of course, he was the first person allowed to speak publicly about the event.
So somebody said, how are we just hearing about this now? And he said, I was given permission to talk about it. No one else has been given permission to talk about it. Fucking idiot. Missing in action. Maybe he has the glow like Bruce Leroy. Sir, if he said he had the glow, I would not fault him. He would be a hero and not just a con man.
I believe that before I believe 1.12 seconds.
I agreed. I would believe that the ghost of Bruce Lee grabbed his hands and actually fought for him before I believe 0.12 seconds.
However, an official from the Ministry of Sports in the Bahamas stated,
Another discrepancy with the movie is that he talks about it taking place in China. It did not take place in China, according to his story. It took place in Nassau in the Bahamas. And then they went to Nassau. The reporters of Black Belt Magazine went to Nassau and started asking around.
That it would be physically impossible for a tournament of that scale to remain secret for so long.
In 1975, which took place in Nassau in the Bahamas.
Okay, now, I also want to put something into context. It is 1975 in Nassau in the Bahamas. How old is Frank Dux in 1975?
Oh, that's a provable fact, and I have no idea.
He is 19 years old.
Okay.
19 years old with the fastest kick that science can measure.
Well, I mean, that's not completely unbelievable, but
that a 19-year-old can have a 0.12 knockout, 0.12 second knockout.
I mean, that's when Joe Rogan was fighting in karate championships. So,
his lies. I mean,
Joe Rogan's or Frank Dux?
Oh, either one. You throw them both in.
Rather than Hong Kong as depicted in the film. But Dux takes
I
the
know
story
nothing of
much
Joe Rogan.
further, claiming he was a CIA operative, saying, "My involvement in that tournament was part of a plan to infiltrate the criminal organizations that organized the fights."
So, when called out on this would be impossible to organize in a small, tiny little place like Nassau in the Bahamas, he says, well, you didn't know about it because it was run by criminals. And the only reason I was there was because I was infiltrating it.
At the tender age of 19.
At the age of 19!
Working for the CIA.
I mean, I have to hand it to this guy. He has imagination. I have to hand it to him. He's done nothing that he says he's done, but his imagination is great.
Yeah.
The original idea was to participate in the Kumite tournament and make a few contacts. We initially assumed I would lose, but eventually I became one of the best Kumite fighters to ever participate in the event. Dux's supposed...
It turned out I was greater than I expected to be.
CIA involvement under Director William J. Casey, who died in 1987 before confirming any of this, has also been...
Yes.
Are you aware of the Mentos commercial? That's the sequence. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to play that. I mean, it is funny. I just thought it would take too much time.
I know, but I can't see this sequence.
I can't either. I can't either. Yeah, I'm with you. So what is interesting is that, like con men do, he starts saying a bunch of people who can corroborate his story, but it turns out those people are dead. And they can't. And so some of the people that he names are the head of the CIA, who had been dead for over a year. Oh, boy. Yes, please, Hulkamania, thank you very much for reminding me. I always kind of forget. Please, everyone, hit the like button. This has been an incredible episode already for all the generosity. Thank you to everyone. I am so humbled that people even like this stupid show. The fact that you're giving me your hard-earned money really, really hits me right in the heart. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, sincerely.
Disputed multiple times over the years by several prominent intelligence figures, including Director of Central Intelligence Robert Gates and General Norman Schwarzkopf.
Someone actually had to go to Norman Schwarzkopf and say, Frank Dux is dropping your name. How absurd is that?
Further questioning Dukes' reliability as the narrator of his own life story. Dukes has even backtracked with his own memoir, declaring that he was misrepresented on the book cover, which boasts he was the CIA's finest covert operative. This kind of uncertainty.
So again, gaslighting, saying, I never said I work for the CIA. And someone says, your book says you work for the CIA on the cover.
All seems pretty standard when it comes to Dukes' convoluted biography. Dukes' boastful Kumite fighting record has also been under heavy scrutiny over the years.
Okay, this part's really captivating for me.
At the end of Bloodsport, Dukes' credentials are displayed. But this is purely Dukes' word, as none of these records have ever been officially substantiated, and says he was only allowed to speak about the event publicly as a way to recruit more American fighters.
So when people started saying, if this was so secretive, how are you allowed to speak about it? He said, I was given permission, like we said earlier, but the purpose of the permission was to recruit others. Well done, Frank. You actually said a believable lie.
In the previously mentioned 1980 Black Belt article, Dukes claims his fighting record was 321, 1, and 7, which not only differs from the movie's undefeated statement, but also in 2014, Dukes told Access TV that he ended his fighting career with a perfect record. These kinds of inconsistencies make it a challenge to believe any of Dukes' claims. Inside...
How amazing was it that they actually already had a pre-printed board that said 12.12 seconds that they could just post in that little slot? That little practical things like that didn't occur to me as a child.
Yeah. Almost like somebody said, make sure to include that in the movie.
Yeah, and pre-printed because they expected to put that.
Oh, yeah. Like, how the fuck would they even know to...
That's what I'm saying. It was pre-printed. It was already written down on a board. Gummi Chainsaw, he said he wasn't the finest, not that he wasn't in the CIA. So he was like, I was an above-average CIA agent. That sounds like a lie he would say. All right.
You know, when people get into semantics to explain away inconsistencies, that it must be true.
At some point, we're splitting hairs. How am I doing with you, Corndiff? Is this an interesting story? You liking this one?
I like it. I do.
Okay.
It's a lot of it's new to me.
Now, here's the thing. I underestimated our time. It has now been an hour and a half. We have literally gotten through 15 minutes of this video that I have cut to be 57 minutes. I'm happy to keep going, but I do not want to be selfish and keep everyone here beyond their time. We still have a lot to go, and also another hour in another episode.
I think this is just your show now. It's just covering this.
It might be, because it's so much. This guy lies so much. So, if anybody has to go... If anybody has to go, man, I'm not going to blame you. It's going to be okay. Just let me know, please. But I do not want to keep you too long.
I want to keep going.
Okay, fantastic. Corndiff, same to you. If you got to go, just let me know.
I am down to clown.
All right. Love it. Thank you.
Kung Fu magazine editor Curtis Wong has publicly questioned Dukes' alleged consecutive streak of 56 knockouts in a single tournament, saying it would be mathematically impossible due to the overall number of participants in the Kumite. With no way of actually proving Dukes' unfathomable fighting record, his history remains a mystery. Prominent MMA...
As cool as that looked when you were 10, isn't it kind of funny that now as an adult you realize that's a completely useless move? Yeah. That would do absolutely nothing to an angry man who outweighs you by 100 pounds.
MMA website, Fightland, named Dux as one of the biggest martial arts frauds.
Thank you,
What we
Mr.
do
Knight.
know is true is that Dux indeed helped raise the profile of the ninjutsu martial art he practiced in the film and in real life. He even created the Dux Ryu ninjutsu spin-off practice, which he taught in Southern California for decades.
Okay, now that actually was all meant to be. That was all meant to just be an overview of Frank Dux' life up to the movie Bloodsport. There is still more to this story if we start from the beginning and tell his story as a child. It's still fascinating. It is, and this stuff is going to be pretty captivating. And then this is actually going to delve into the details of the movie and how wrong they are even against his claims of what really happened. But you'll see. And this, Andy, is where we're going to very quickly get to that shithead of a kid actor.
I want to go all the way back to April 6th, 1956, when on an early spring day in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Frank William Dux was born to Holocaust survivors Alfred and Margaret Dux. Now, before we go...
Now, as much as I don't like to say this, Frank Dux was Jewish, and that will play a part in his story a little bit later. Keep that in mind.
Like saying
Because it's going... Because YouTube is weird about saying Jew. He is... You know what? I guess it's really not going to spoil anything. Eventually, when he starts getting caught in lies, and also, you know, I don't want to just say it's another Jewish guy lying. Greenberg, come on, the name. He eventually just starts saying people are anti-Semitic, and that's why they're poking holes in my story.
I got you. Okay. So,
Yes.
yeah, he's just running to an excuse.
Yes.
Okay.
And I hate shit like that. So.
literally any further, it's necessary to clarify something. Nearly every aspect of Frank's life has been put under scrutiny, and for decades now, he has had several folks both detracting and corroborating the recounts he has given over the course of his career in the public. But he is
missing in action. You know what? You're right. They say Jew on TSN constantly. They have Anne Frank on third mic. You got me there.
Is he Jewish, though? I mean, I thought Dux was French. Like, I mean, not that there can't be French Jews, but
this is what I was trying to avoid.
He doesn't. It doesn't read that way. I
I
say that he converted for the excuse. Wouldn't put it past him.
Hey, and Frank Dux, new character for Skeptical Robots.
That's the award-winning comment.
This one needs to happen. And Frank Dux, oh my God, I already have an idea.
You have to make your own trophy for that award, though. We're getting the best comment of the night.
Spurg. Oh man, Spurg Snake, thank you. That is great. And Frank Dux. I might just keep this up for the rest of the episode. Oh, that's good. Okay. I will make her as a wrestler. Gummy. Gummy gets it. And Frank Dux. Oh, that's great. Oh man. Wow. Where were we? Jews. Yeah, it's a weird thing. He just starts eventually, and it's funny, it takes him a while to catch on to it. It wasn't his go-to. Eventually he just starts leaning into it. Saying, "Oh yeah, those people who are poking holes in all my lies, they're anti-Semitic." Oh man. All right.
Has also done himself no favors in this department by giving conflicting information regarding subjects over the years, especially in regards to changing parts of his stories when challenged with evidence to the contrary. In January of 1964, when Frank was 7, the Dux family moved to the San Fernando Valley in California. By Frank's account, he grew up very poor, with his family even being unable to provide him shoes without holes in them, and this made him the target of frequent harassment from other kids from the more well-off families. It is worth mentioning that his father worked on planes at Burbank Airport, and Frank also has a brother that later attended USC, so it's possible they just came up and Frank is just highlighting when they were struggling, but I digress. According to Frank, he was a quote-unquote crybaby with no confidence growing up, and that if you said boo to him, he would run in the opposite direction. This was until he discovered his love for martial arts. Having been enamored with the character of...
You know what just occurred to me?
What's that?
What if he isn't Jewish? What if that is one of his lies?
That's what I was saying.
in order to have... Yeah, that is what you said. And I just thought about it. Here I was believing his nonsense. Maybe he's not Jewish and he just simply said, I'm Jewish, to call that person an anti-Semite.
Yes.
Wow. Like, what? How could we prove that he's Jewish? You know? Wow.
Show me your penis, Frank.
Man, that is... Wow. This is a true story. Very true story. I had a cousin who was dating a Jewish guy, and she told me that she was going to convert to Judaism, and I made a joke. It was a 100% hackfest joke, and I said, "Wow, I love bacon cheeseburgers too much. I could never do that." And her eyes got big, and she said, I never thought of that. And I was like, seriously? You didn't think about this? And she didn't convert to Judaism.
Oh, come on. It's not...
No, she wound up actually breaking up with the guy. But it was funny. She was like, I really never thought of it. Like, I was the first person to mention that to her.
Not every Jew doesn't eat whatever mix of dairy.
No.
Ask Lucy. Type.
No. I totally get it. Believe me. Promise me.
Speaking of Jews worth converting for, she doesn't keep kosher, so it's fine.
I get it, but her boyfriend did. That was the thing. And I get that was a hack joke. And she literally had not thought about it. And I was like, are you serious?
Ridiculous.
Anyway, but yeah, I think they broke up like a month later. All right.
In front of a Burger King.
Yeah. Okay, so this is actually very important to this story. The mention of 007. You will see why.
Of James Bond in his youth, remember that, it may just come up later. As Frank remembers it, he wanted to get into martial arts because he was inspired by the secret agent's aptitude for hand-to-hand combat and his ability to handle people physically. However, this was way before the days of MMA gyms being all over the world and 1 in 3 young adult men you know earning belts in hipster jitsu. This was back in the days when if you wanted to learn how to fight, it was all karate dojos and instructional books or videos. Luckily for him, during the 60s and 70s, the Valley was home to a great number of burgeoning dojos with founders that brought secrets directly from Asia to the mainland United States and would go on to become some of the biggest names in the martial arts world. Anyway, coming from a poor upbringing, Frank was unable to take formal lessons in many of these places. For different reasons, the timeline of events on these early years is a bit hazy, but the major defining year as far as Frank's formal martial arts training and his development into the man who he would become would be when Frank turned 13.
Okay, now I do want to issue a little bit of an apology in that this next segment is a little long and it may just seem unnecessary, but I feel like it is very necessary when understanding future lies
That's okay,
of Frank
because
Dux. Yeah.
I'm here for you and your apology.
I'm sorry.
You know I got that covered.
Host of the All Apologies podcast, Trucker Andy, who I assume is going to be hosting a show as Pickle with the plunger head from now on.
This is it.
You want to? You know what? Just for my audience, real quick, do you want to tell them about the God, what do you call the concept of All Apologies podcast?
Oh, our format, yeah,
Yeah,
I would-
format. Sorry.
Basically, we just watch the news for public apologies from celebrities or sports and politicians, public figures that fuck up. And it's very easy. All I have to do is put apologizes into the internet machine, and every day somebody is running to do an apology tour. But we try and find the funnier, crazier ones. Michael Richards is a standout one. Diddy is, very easy to poke fun at. So we're this week. Yeah. So
What's amazing?
Sunday we're covering Marilyn Manson. Things like that.
What's amazing is that there's no short supply of apologies. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that is. It's such a great format. Great concept too.
Thank you. Yeah, please check it out if you're listening to this.
Please go
Like
check
and
out.
subscribe. As the kids
Yes,
say.
Trucker Andy, and you host the show with your brother and new girl, right?
My twin brother Joe Sixpack, and we frequently have New Girl on there. She's not.
Okay.
She's a fan favorite. She's a personal favorite, and we feature her on there as much as we can. But
Easy on the eyes.
busy lady. She's a busy lady overseas, so
Yes.
it's hard to line up our recording schedules. But she's welcome whenever we can get her.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you
All
for
right.
that.
No, please plug away, sir. All right. So for now, Frank Dux is 13 years old, allegedly. Here we go.
And he's a big fan of giants.
Yes, big fan of giants in whatever form they come. That'll make sense, folks. Stay tuned.
The year is 1969. It's the World Teams Championship in Pasadena, California. In one corner is multiple-time former world karate champion and owner of an impressive over 6-year unbeaten streak in head-to-head matches, Mike Stone. In the other is 23-year-old upstart Vic Moore, one of the first African Americans ever to win a major karate competition, trained by the godfather of American karate, Robert Trias, holder of victories over the likes of Chuck Norris and Joe Louis, a future pioneer of American kickboxing. After a hard-fought battle, Moore defeats Stone in a dramatic upset, and as Vic Moore is celebrating his victory, that is when he's confronted with his real test that day, in the form of apparently the most imposing 13-year-old of all time, Frank Dux. Legend has it, Dux approached Moore, and after a brief exchange...
Okay, now let me just summarize this because it did get a little complicated there. There are legit martial artists at a martial arts event. They have fought, and the winner of the guy who had victories over Chuck Norris has now been challenged by a 13-year-old Frank Dux.
Yeah.
Okay. We all on board?
Checks out.
No, not at all.
Here we go.
Exchange about having to fight the best to be the best, Frank struck him in the nose, and after a 15-minute scrap with neither man nor adolescent being able to get the upper hand, a draw was reconciled between the two. Dux also claimed...
Fought the man to a draw. Now, let's see what that guy has to say.
claims that the two would meet again a couple of years later and fight to another draw. Now, as far as those claims are concerned, when Vic Moore has been asked about them in the past, he has given conflicting stories as well. In the 2012 film made about Frank titled Put Up Your Dukes, great name.
We might be making an episode out of Put Up Your Dukes soon.
Yes, I want to see that.
There is a portion where Vic seems to maybe not exactly corroborate everything that Frank is saying, but at the very least he's not denying it.
This is the man who made me.
However, nowadays, including most recently in an interview Vic gave to the channel Viking Samurai, he denies having ever had an actual fight with Frank.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to stop it right there. Hamhead, thank you for the $2. Trucker Andy, great skeptical robot guest. I agree. Yes. Thank you very much, Hamhead. And Trucker Andy is doing awesome.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that Mike Tyson was on board with the Jake Paul fight as well. So whatever this guy is standing there corroborating for Frank Dux, it's probably all theater.
Now, 100% totally agree with that. But this guy who is narrating here dug a little deeper and has a very, very plausible explanation.
Also, I think there was a bit of a quid pro quo going on between the two at the time, as Frank was in return willing to lend credence to a dubious claim that Vic had been making for years as well at this point. Vic Moore once famously participated in a speed demonstration with the legendary Bruce Lee, where he was attempting to show that he could block Lee's lightning-quick charging strikes, and let's just say accounts differ on how things transpired.
So what this guy is suggesting is that the only reason this story became Frank Dux' lore is because Frank Dux said to him, I know you didn't look good when you challenged Bruce Lee. I will tell people that it went differently if you tell people that I challenged you at 13. And you know what? You don't even have to say I beat you. We'll say we ended it in a draw. And I got to say, that is a little believable.
Yeah. It's literally Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
Dang, Lizard. At Hamhead, I think he wrote gay wrong. Come on now.
Get out of here, dang lizard.
Dang, Lizard, with your little caterpillar dollars.
The version most people know, and the one that has been confirmed by those in attendance and by existing footage of that day, is that Bruce was able to narrowly successfully strike Vic both times he attempted. However, Vic Moore insists that there is additional footage out there that shows a whole different side of that day, that he not only blocked the strikes, but he was able to land some of his own strikes against the legend.
Not only did I block them, I beat the fuck out of Bruce Lee.
I can't not mention how few Asian martial artists are featured in this.
I know. And also, it's always just the coping, the lies. There's other footage, but somebody hit stop before I beat the shit out of Bruce Lee. It's amazing.
It happened so fast.
That's how fast I am.
It was buried to preserve the star that Bruce Lee was cultivating at that time. Whatever the case, as far...
Gummy. Yes, he does. He looks like Spike from Tom and Jerry. He does.
As far as whether or not I believe a 13-year-old kid whose only training to that point was mimicking moves he saw through karate dojo windows fought to any sort of a draw with a 23-year-old multi-time world champion with a direct lineage to one of the most important figures in American martial arts history, and this supposedly happened after a major championship event, and there is coincidentally no real evidence to prove it, I'll let my esteemed co-counsel take this one.
So he is simply saying, if you add all up those factors, it sounds like a bunch of horse shit. And there was something to gain from it, in that it helped Frank Dux' lore. It helped, I forget the other guy's name. The other guy's lore.
Vic?
Vic Spike from Tom and Jerry.
Anyhow, it was apparently the fallout from this fight that would set Frank on the course to meet the man who would teach him the ways of the ninja, and whose living room we are still flashbacking in, Senzo Tiger Tanaka. Now, Senzo Tanaka, and the question of whether he actually ever really existed, has become one of the most researched and debated topics in the entire Frank Dux mythos, and for good reason, as there is some fascinating stuff there.
Dux says he began training with the, quote, world-famous Tanaka at age 16 after being recruited by the sensei. But despite supposedly being world-famous, there is also zero evidence that Tanaka actually ever existed. There are no records of his birth, death, or life. In fact, the character's name appears to be ripped from Ian Fleming's 1964 James Bond novel.
He stole the name from a James Bond novel.
That tracks.
Now, you might say, maybe it's a coincidence. Let's keep watching.
You Only Live Twice, in which the ninja commander is named Tiger Tanaka.
He even stole the guy's nickname. He reports that the guy who taught him all of the ninja skills that he learned was a guy named Senzo Tiger Tanaka.
Who would have thought that a book that I read as a child and enjoyed that I ripped off would be made into a very popular movie where all my bullshit would be fully on display.
And fully confirmable. He gave the guy his nickname too. Like, I mean, come on. It is so incredibly ballsy to have made these claims. Nonsense. But when challenged, like, let's make a game out of this. When challenged, what was his explanation?
Let's see. How is it that his master has the same name as the villain?
And
You only live twice.
Same name and nickname.
The character in the book was based on the guy that I knew.
Hey, you are just like Frank Dux. That was Frank Dux. Here we go.
When Dukes was confronted about this so-called coincidence, he countered by saying that Fleming often named his characters after real people.
Dukes explained this bizarre coincidence by stating that despite being more underground than the fucking sandworms of Arrakis, somehow Ian Fleming had heard all about Tanaka and based his Bond villain on the real-life Senzo.
The Bond villain was based on Dukes' Tanaka. Amazing. Dang Lizard, thank you for the €2, 2 more Caterpillar dollars for a fun show. Thank you so much, Dang Lizard. I appreciate it. Now, I think that Trucker Andy will forgive you for your gay comment.
You're the man, Dang Lizard. I forgive you.
Thank you, Dang Lizard.
Please accept my apology, baby.
Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on.
Damn it.
Here, play it again. Play it again. Play the song again.
Please accept my apology. Please accept my apology, baby.
Smooth moves.
There you go.
Fantastic.
All right. I'm tired.
It's taken 30 years of digging just to verify that, yes, there was a man named Senzo Tanaka who lived and died in California.
Now, for the longest time, people tried to prove this guy, and Frank Dux always had a kind of a explanation to say, well, I don't have any real proof that he existed, but he did. And for the longest time, a lot of people just said, well, we've tried to find records on the guy and we can't find any. So it did take a very long time, but somebody did find that there was a guy named Senzo Tanaka that lived in the general area of Frank Dux when he was a kid. That's what this is talking about.
At roughly the same times as Dux claims, Tanaka came from an area of Japan called Kumamoto, which has historical links to a practice called Yamabushi, which is indeed very similar sounding to Koga Yamabushi, the branch of ninjutsu Dux claims he trained.
So, we following that they're trying to actually defend Frank Dux' lies here. That this guy named Senzo Tanaka, who did live in the general area as Frank Dux when he was a kid, was from a place called Yamabushi in Japan. And that Frank Dux had marketed his system of martial arts called Koga Yamabushi, and they're drawing some connections. Okay.
Yeah, God forbid it actually turns out to be true.
They're giving him credit. They're giving benefit of the doubt. Hey, You know what? Okay, maybe there's a connection there that is viable and confirmable. Maybe.
Or any Dukes fans among you break out the champagne and hand lotion. The only problem is, Yamabushi is literally a form of meditation and mountain worshipping practiced by monks of that region.
So, what that is saying is, either Frank Dux falsified a record or got the interpretation of a Japanese word incorrectly.
Okay, yeah.
Are we following that? I know it's a little weird.
It's a little weird, but that's how people get caught in lies, right?
Yes.
You misinterpreted, like literally misinterpreted this, and now you're trying to say that you're a black belt at meditating.
Not just meditating in a mountain. I actually cut out a portion where they interview some of these people. They have to do it in a mountain, and they worship spirits of mountains. So here, I clip this in as another example of Frank Dux getting an interpretation wrong.
Ninja means someone whose spirit and skill is sharper than the edge of a blade.
Wrong. That is not what ninja means. Ultimately, from Chinese roots, ninja comes from the Japanese words nin, endurance or stealth, and sha, a person. When combined, these characters roughly mean one who endures or one skilled in stealth. So, as an example of Frank Dux not doing his goddamn homework when he lies.
In 1980, Frank wrote a manuscript titled Ninja, The Untold Story. It's 160 pages of ninja fan fiction, yet somehow manages to be more painfully dull than having a limb amputated with a spoon. Dux does, however, spend a significant allotment of the story performing literary fellatio on Senzo Tanaka. The list of Tanaka's accomplishments are truly inspirational. Let's take a look at a few examples and try to rate their credibility. At age 16, he took part in the Russo-Japan War. The 16-year-old Tanaka killed enough high-ranking Russian officers to make Joseph Stalin feel inadequate.
Okay, are we following here? These are the claims that Frank Dux made of his Senzo Tanaka, who was a spy for the Black Dragon Fighting Society.
Possibly ninja. That's great.
Yes.
Famous Russian lunatic Rasputin prophesied the coming of Senzo Tanaka.
Soak that one in, folks.
Neither here nor there, but okay.
Wow. Again, if you're gonna effectively lie, you gotta make the lies believable. Rein it in, Frank.
Like a headline from the Inquirer. Rasputin says,
Yeah. From the daily. Yeah, the Daily News or whatever, the Weekly World News with Bat Boy and Russian mystic foresees ninja assassin. That's Gummi.
Yeah, and Frank Dux versus Rasputin.
Oh my God, I need to do this show on acid once. Oh man. I mean, this stuff is it's really funny because it is mind-blowing in its own way. It blows my mind. I'm sitting here saying, wow, here I am afraid to tell a simple lie like, no, I wasn't speeding. Or, hey, those aren't my drugs, officer. But here's this guy saying, I was taught the ninja skills by a ninja master who was foreseen by the Russian mystic Rasputin. Holy shit, that is so fucking crazy.
It is crazy to just walk through your life with just the understanding that you're completely full of shit. You have to fully believe, the way that George Costanza would say that it's not a lie if you believe it. That's the way that Frank Dux lives his whole life.
With no regard for reality. That's amazing. No regard for reality. Or facts, yeah.
Yeah.
This is amazing. All right. Sorry. I had to stop it on that one because that one just blew my goddamn mind. Wow.
As it was prophesied, Tanaka ninja...
Oh, Gummi. He just knows how to get to my heart. I will film an entire Kumite starring Anne Frank Dux. Please make Chong Li have a Hitler mustache. God, that's funny. Oh, man. All right. Hamhead, thank you for the $5, Hamhead. Oh, man. Dude, you've given too much tonight. And you're giving your skin Jesus. So generous. I've watched several docs on Rasputin. Now I understand the ninja talk. It always seems so out of place. Enlightenment is beautiful.
Honestly,
Hamhead.
There can't be enough ninjas in history. Yeah, I
I agree.
appreciate that being inserted into more history, fact-based or not.
Hamhead. Oh, man, you rock, dude. Hamhead is my first subscriber. Very, very, very generous supporter of the show. Thank you, Hamhead. I remember when I was in high school, I discovered The Onion. And one of my absolute favorite, I still think it's pretty searchable. I think you can still find it. One of my favorite Onion articles talked about a ninja who tried to have an office job, but got tired and killed everyone in the office. And it had picture like these really bad Photoshop pictures. And it was like he evaded police by climbing on telephone wires for 40 minutes and and smoke bombs. And like, I mean, it was so funny. But now I'm sitting here just thinking that still makes me laugh. Still makes me laugh.
Is anybody aware of Real Ultimate Power? Do you remember that?
No. No.
Okay. This was more text-based, like blog-centric type of ninja humor, where it just teaches you how to commit seppuku by folding a frisbee in half and swallowing it.
No, but I would totally be into that.
Everybody,
Hey,
Google Real Ultimate Power. Right
Real
now.
Ultimate Power. That's awesome. Hey,
Yeah.
doopa doopa doo.
Doop.
Gifted 5 Luigi Greenberg memberships. Thank you so much, doopa doopa doo. Part of the team of mods to the stars. Thank you. Thank you, doopa doopa doo. I appreciate it. Dooba dooba doo, also Bronson Pinchot. Thank you. One time I made a joke about Bronson Pinchot, and about 2 minutes later, Bronson Pinchot was in the chat giving a super chat, and I found out later it was doopa doopa doo.
Love it.
And it made me laugh really hard. Thank you, doopa doopa doo. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, here we go.
Made his way into the court of Tsar Nicholas II, beheaded his mistress, and left her head in his bed.
Forgot about that one, actually. Totally forgot about that one. Senzo Tanaka beheaded... I can't even fucking say it. It's so stupid. Beheaded Tsar Nicholas's mistress. Why she was on a list of people that needed to be assassinated by ninjas? Hey, you know what? Go look up history.
Tanaka pulled a lethal weapon and was kicked out of the Japanese intelligence services during World War II for being a loose cannon who didn't do things by the book. He moved to San Francisco where he ninja'd the fuck out of the entire Chinese mafia. According to Dux, Senzo was regarded as the most famous ninja of his day. Is it possible that Senzo Tanaka...
Now, this part has to be what I consider to be the most fascinating of all his lies. Here we go.
Really was a legendary ninja and part of a lineage stretching back 40 generations? Yes, but unlikely.
Let's catch back up to Frank's flashback as we see the movie.
Are you ready? You ready, Andy?
Yes, please. Can't
Now,
wait.
what?
No, I said I can't wait.
Oh, okay. All right. So just to let the audience know, this is a clip from the movie Bloodsport. It is one of the most inexplicable moments in motion picture history. But it is very funny. Okay, here we go.
Movie's version of his first meeting of his mentor. Teenage Frank and 2 of his friends break into the Tanaka living room and attempt to steal the family katana sword. Now, the joke has already been made about Frank rocking a San Francisco baseball Giants hat with a New York football Giants jersey, and so he must just be a fan of Giants in general.
He had to go... Now, granted, Canon was not a high-priced, big-budget movie production company, but they had to have somebody on staff to make sense of the wardrobe, right?
That is a big question mark. It's why would anybody not put two and two together? In the day of the internet where you're like, oh, I accidentally ordered a Giants hat and a Giants jersey. It boggles the mind. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's got to be an inside joke, right?
Or someone trolling the Canon group, Canon Films group. But you then okay, so then you throw in the fact that this is supposed to be the San Fernando Valley. One of these makes a lot of sense. One of them does not.
Right. Yes. This is like when your aunt asks your mom what you want for Christmas, and your mom says, "Oh, he loves the Giants," and your aunt that doesn't know football just goes to the store and says, "What do you got with the Giants on it?" And
Andy,
this is what you get for Christmas.
That is an expert analogy. That is exactly what this is. That is so funny that you say that, because I never would have thought of that. But that is precisely what this is. And that must have been on staff clothing these actors. Like someone's aunt who does not understand sports.
I have to bring up the kid's accent.
Okay,
too,
okay, yes, we will get to that. Okay.
I don't want to.
No, we're right there.
I'm going to go a different route and give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe this is just a small nod to how poor Frank evidently was growing up, and that maybe his family had to just scrape any giant swag together that they could. Anyway, Frank's friends wisely bail when they hear people coming, but Frank lollygags like a fucking goon and gets caught. He is essentially blackmailed into training with Senzo and brought on to act as a proverbial punching bag for his son Shingo. According to Frank, the real training sessions were held with Senzo's nephews rather than his son, but that the beatings he incurred are very authentic to how they are portrayed in the movie. Additionally, he says that the bit about breaking into the Tanaka house to steal the katana sword is also fiction and a work of Hollywood. Let's be clear, Frank Dux has been accused of being many things: a liar, a snake oil salesman, a con artist, a wannabe, a self-owner of mythical proportion.
By the way, that is him on a talk show. Not a joke. That's real.
With the eye patch.
With the eye patch and a woman on his shoulder. Okay, I might have fucked up here. I thought I had audio of the kid's accent. Okay. I hold on. Let me get through like a few more seconds and I'll confirm. I really thought I did.
But he's certainly no thief. Anyway, it was during these ass-kickings that Frank said he first heard about the existence of the underground fighting tournament known as the Kumite, rather than being awkwardly told about it after saving Shingo from an ass-kicking.
Someday, I'll fight in the Kumite and make my father proud.
At age 16, Frank...
Oh, fuck. Okay, I fucked up. I am sorry. I thought... God damn it. I really thought that I had the audio of that scene when Senzo says to the kid, "We make a deal." and then the kid goes, "What a kind of a deal?"
Yeah. The kid sounds like he's hearing impaired. He's not doing a French accent. He's doing a deaf accent.
It is so bizarre. Yes, hearing impaired and English not his first language. It is so awkward and weird, and there's no like identifiable accent there. Like, I wonder if that might have been an American kid that they said, "Hey, make up an accent."
Yeah. See if you can make fun of Jean Claude Van Damme's accent. He sounds like this.
What kind of a deal, boss? That his accent is so off-putting. It is so weird. And you know what's so funny is that, like, even as a kid watching that, I thought, what's wrong with him? Damn it. I really thought I had some audio there. I'm sorry I fucked that one up. But, I mean, it's Bloodsport. Go look it up. I think it's on Tubi.
Yeah, everybody has a reason to go watch it. Yeah, that's where I watched it.
Yeah, but yeah, that kid's accent. What kind of a deal? That's my favorite line the kid delivers. It's so stupid.
says he traveled with Senzo to Masuda, Japan as part of his final ninjutsu training.
Okay, I'm sorry. I spoke prematurely. This is the part I find to be the most fascinating. Pay attention. What we just heard is that Senzo Tanaka took a 16-year-old hearing impaired guy speaking with marbles in his mouth to Japan. Why?
Regardless of how Frank met Senzo, theirs was a love that bloomed on the battlefield. So Frank was free to bask in Senzo's full attention, and bask he did. According to Dux' ancient ninja manuscript, Tanaka knew he was dealing with not just any teenager, but with the true heir to 40 generations of ninja cosplay. It's safe to say Senzo picked up a real ninja.
Okay, so this is where we're going, all right? Supposedly, he's speaking in hyperbole, obviously, but Frank Dux' story is that Senzo Tanaka sensed the ninja greatness in Frank Dux as a 16-year-old boy, and probably also searched out his butthole chi at the same time.
Part of the process.
Let me check and make sure that you're actually the chosen. I just heard something similar. I'm racking my brain to remember. Oh God, some other like line of bullshit where it's like this person is obviously the direct heir to X, Y, and Z. Oh God, I'm not going to go on because I'm not. It's not going to come to me. I'll blurt it out later.
I think I know what you're talking. I think I know what you're talking about. It was Moana.
I haven't seen that.
It's essentially the same story as Frank Dux.
Okay.
Ninja vibe coming off this kid, which may partially explain why, between the ages of 14 to 16, Senzo's training crossed over the border into full-on child endangerment, as Frank was made to do live fighting with real bladed weapons, fought a greenberg.
Would you trust a 14-year-old child to sword play with you with real swords? I would not.
Absolutely.
No.
Ray, and had to have stakes strapped to his legs and get chased by a hungry Akita. So after 2 whole years of training, he took someone else's teenage son on an unsupervised trip to, and I quote, the legendary ninja land of Masuda, which is odd as you would likely expect them to go to Kumamoto, seeing as that's where 40 fucking generations of Senzo's ninja great-grandparents lived, but whatever. At Masuda, the 16-year-old Frank learns every single ninja technique in the fucking ninja book, and then challenges the entire Koga clan for the right to be called ninja. I'm not making this up.
At 16 years old, he is taken on a trip by a stranger, an older man, to demonstrate his ninja capabilities to a clan of ninjas in order to earn the right to call himself a ninja.
Yeah. I like how the narrator's like, I'm not making this up. No, we know Frank is making it up. Tell us that you're making it up.
I think Frank Dux was gang raped by a group of ninjas and instead came up with this story.
That's how they jump you into the ninja gang.
This is so... I mean, to call it unbelievable, I feel is not an adequate word. Like, this is outlandishly cinematic, fantastical. It's amazing. It's surreal. He's, like he's feeding into all of the stereotypes of Asian culture at the time and saying that he, who needs to be called a ninja? You dress up like one. Who needs to be given the certificate of being called, officially a ninja? And so basically he was doing a dance performance in front of this group of ninjas, and they gave him applause at the end.
Yeah, it's kind of counterproductive to being a ninja, honestly. Running around saying that you are.
Telling a clan, a group, a gang of ninjas, hey, can I be one of you? This is amazing. And, as I'm sitting here just thinking about it, I'm like, man, has this ever been in a movie? And the one movie I can think of is Wolverine, where he's in the mountains of Japan and he's battling ninjas. And maybe Wolverine stole from Frank Dux.
Batman Begins.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Yes, that's a great one. Maybe Frank Dux is Batman.
I'm sure he would let you believe that.
Gummi Chainsaw. Yes, all the Asian stereotypes except being Asian. Yes. It's amazing. I mean, like, who was his intended audience? Who did he want to believe this shit?
8-year-old Andy.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. fair enough. Yeah, okay. All right. You got me there. 10-year-old Luigi. All right. Okay.
Exaggerating, this is legitimately all in Frank's manuscript. A 16-year-old Canadian challenges an entire clan of ninjas in the middle of a ninja village for the right to become a ninja. And again, I quote, "The boy's abilities shocked and pleased the ninja community."
I bet they pleased them very well.
And he was awarded, in front of the entire Koga clan, the title of ninja.
For a kid to grow up a huge James Bond fan, so much so that it was the inspiration for you to get into martial arts, and then by happenstance meet and be mentored in martial arts by the real person that a famous Bond character of the time was based off of, it's really remarkable. Some might say it's completely unbelievable.
Having mastered the ninja arts before he had even mastered growing facial hair, Dux moved on to the next arc of the Frank Dux cinematic universe, his military career.
All right, guys. We are going on 2.5 hours now, and I am starting to feel bad that I'm taking up this much of your time.
So that's a good natural stopping point, right? Getting out of childhood where you've mastered being a ninja before you get pubes, but I did enjoy the critical drinkers roundup of it. That was a good narrator.
What's sad though is that we are probably halfway through this video. There is so much more to do. I didn't. What's that? Yeah, this is probably going to be a 3. I don't even realize the. Shit! I didn't realize the audience could actually see me scrolling through it. Fuck. Yeah. I mean, it's just so much.
It's great. It's so great.
Thank you, Andy. And I do mean this sincerely, but I'm not going to press you. You have an open invitation if you would like to come back next week. If not, that's okay too. But
see what I can do. If I am around, I will definitely hop on.
You were fantastic. Thank you for being awesome on the show. Normally we do like an end screen here before we start giving plugs, and I did kind of just want to go through the end screen a little bit because it's awesome. Here we go. Give me a shimmy, corn.
Song rules.
I extended it a little bit. Come on, everybody at home. Give us a kumite.
Get it, Luigi.
Here we go. Kumite. Ah, fuck. Damn it. All right.
You know the rest.
Yeah, go watch it. Let's see here. All right. Andy, thank you so much for being on the show. You are my lucky charm, sir. If you have watched the show before, we have very loyal, generous fans, but tonight they really kicked it up a notch. I am still a little speechless on how great everyone was. Thank you, everyone in the audience. Thank you so much. I am humbled by your generosity. I am so glad you like the show. I hope that I continue to deliver good shows. I'm sorry, I feel like I messed up that line. But a big thanks to my guest, Trucker Andy. Andy, please plug anything you would like.
Oh, thanks so much. Obviously, I want to plug Hackamania coming up in just 3 weeks in Vegas. Nobody Likes Onions Fest, featuring Who Are These Podcasts. I am on there regularly, so if you know who I am, it's probably thanks to Carl and the Dabbleverse. But my show,
we should let everyone know that you don't normally always look like a pickle.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I might want to. This is what I normally look like.
There we
go. You can see two of me on my show, All Apologies Podcast. My brother and I do the breakdown of the apology tours that all the celebrities and athletes and politicians are constantly throwing up in the headlines. And we're going to have Ryan Rebalkin of Worst of the Best on this Sunday to talk about Marilyn Manson. So that'll be out on Wednesday. So,
that's a good one, man. I know he had a quite the apology tour. So looking forward to that one.
Yeah. And I'd love to have you guys. If you guys ever want to come on All Apologies, I'd love to set that up too.
You let me know when and where, sir. I'd be happy to be there.
Great.
Thank you so much. All right. So for me, thank you again, everybody. Please check out Unboxing Eric this Sunday show that I do on Hack Ride Studios. We've also got Unboxing Riley Martin on Thursdays and Unboxing Howard Stern Storytime every other Wednesday. Thank you so much. And we end the show with, you know what I never did? Damn it. All right. You know what, folks? We are gonna make it up to you with the list of the names. We said we were gonna go through the lists of the names. We're gonna make something special for the next episode to make sure that every name gets mentioned. And I also got caught up because they were all together. I didn't do any of my thank you animations. Sorry. I apologize. I was very taken aback by all of it.
Excited.
Excited. Yeah, I owe the audience a lot, and we're going to get to it. I promise. So we end the show with Corndiff's plugs and his motivational quote for the week.
You can find me on, just go to corndiff.com, actually. All the links are there. Just go there. Or don't. I don't care. It's, all right. And everybody, remember, your future is bright, assuming you lower your expectations. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
That's right, it sucks.